Winter is rapidly approaching, unfortunately, and to stay ahead of the game and get prepared for the season ahead, I have 8 or 9 items that I would recommend adding in to your existing fall wardrobe in order to round it off and enhance it ahead of the winter season. You may already own items in these categories, and so it may just be a case of pulling them out of storage and prepping them, adding them in to your rotation ahead of winter. But you could also use this video as some suggestions if you have any gaps to plug in your winter wardrobe. All of the pieces I'm showing today are from Petite Studios, who are sponsoring this video. I did just want to quickly mention that Petite Studios are running their annual Black Friday sale. It is running through until the 3rd of December and it is 30% off site-wide. If you're curious about sizing, because they are obviously a petite friendly brand, I will leave my measurements and the size I took in each piece down below as well. So Petite Studios are a New York based company, ran specifically for petites by petites, and they are still one of the only slow fashion petite friendly brands on the market. I am on the cusp at 5'5", but actually I think technically in the US that is considered petite. It does depend on where in the world you are, but I still do run into trouble shopping at other brands. Often things are far too long on me. Okay, we can't talk about transitioning your wardrobe into winter without talking about knitwear. In autumn, you may still be wearing those lighter weight knits, perhaps cotton knits, maybe some fine merino wool or cashmere. But as we approach the winter season, it is definitely time to pull out those heavy duty thick knits. So I suggest adding at least one chunky sweater to your rotation, and this one from Petite Studios might tick all of the boxes for you. This is 100% extra fine merino wool. I always go for merino wool, especially for my really chunky knitwear. I find that it strikes the perfect balance between soft and silky feeling, but also really warm. This one is quite a classic cable knit design, but it has this open collar, which adds a little bit of interest to an otherwise quite simple style. The collar runs all the way along the back. Cream is always a go-to color for me for knitwear. It is so easy to pair with everything. I also feel like it brightens up a winter outfit. So often people gravitate towards grays and blacks and dark browns in winter, and I definitely have some of those in this collection. But actually, I do think you need at least one brighter, whiter, winter white piece to really add a little bit of life back into your outfits. So this is the perfect option for that. However, if you are more of a colourful dresser, then it also does come in this bright true red. This also feels a little bit festive to me. This would be a great Christmas Day jumper as well, but also it is just fine to wear all winter long. I think a true red suits everyone. I actually know, according to colour theory, a true red like this one does suit any skin tone, any undertone. So adding red into your wardrobe, if you're unsure about colour, could be a great option to go with. Exactly the same composition as the cream one. It's 100% extra fine merino wool, and it is heavy, it is weighty, it is thick. This is going to keep you so toasty and warm. I love to wear this when I work from home because I don't have to put the heating on then, because this is so thick and so warm and lovely. The other knitwear option you may want to consider is more of like a fluffy textured knit. I always reserve these mostly for the winter. I think in autumn you still are wearing some of those more summery, lighter textures, more flat knits or cotton knits. But when it comes to winter, I always want to add more texture. Any way I can add texture to outfits in the winter is great for me. And a fluffier textural knit like this is one of the ways you can do that. Now, if you know me at all, you'll know I'm not the biggest fan of fluffy mohairs and alpacas. This jumper is a mohair blend, and I would say this is on the less itchy side of the mohair scale. If you are very sensitive to knitwear, I would suggest going for merino wool instead, something like this, or I have another merino wool option to show you in a second. If you are more tolerant of mohair, then this one actually I would say is on the more tolerable side. It's not as scratchy as a lot of the other mohair and alpaca knits that I've tried. I wouldn't call it soft, but I also wouldn't call it scratchy. It's kind of an in-between. The colour is the thing that really drew me to this knit. It's called Tiffany Blue, which I do think is the perfect description of this colour. It really is that true Tiffany blue. I absolutely love it. I think it really pops against chocolate brown. Chocolate brown is such a trend this autumn winter. I have a chocolate brown skirt to show you in a second, and this pairing, this bright like Tiffany blue with a chocolate brown, is a match made in heaven. The details on this sweater are beautiful. It has this vertical ribbing all along the body and the sleeves, this slight neckline detail, and these mother of pearl buttons. It's very delicate, very feminine, Parisian vintage feeling. So if that's your style, then you might want to look at this one. And finally, I think one of the best ways to transition your autumn knitwear into more winter knitwear is to go for something in a really wintry pattern. And there isn't anything more wintry, in my opinion, than this Fair Isle jumper. This screams ski season, it screams Christmas, it screams fun, festive activities, and it is also neutral. So it's definitely not just a Christmas Day sweater by any means. It isn't a bright red jumper with baubles hanging off it. It's subtle, it's sophisticated, but it definitely has that nod towards the festive season. This one is also merino wool, so as I said, if you can't tolerate the mohair options, then Petite Studios have lots of merino wool options. They definitely are my favourite, and if you wanted something more patterned than the first two options, then this could be a great one to go for. This would also pair beautifully, obviously, with chocolate brown, with all of this beautiful chocolate brown detail along the neckline. It has the detail running on the cuffs as well, and I always appreciate when the detail goes fully onto the back as well. They don't spare any attention to detail. So we've talked about knitwear, and other than keeping you warm, which is kind of essential, I think knitwear is all about adding that texture, that richness to winter outfits. And another way to do that is with the ever so popular at the moment fabric suede. Now we've seen suede in shoes, in bags, but actually I think an amazing way to add suede to your wardrobe, if you want something a little bit more statement, is in a piece of clothing. And I have this gorgeous chocolate brown suede skirt from Petite Studios to show you. As I mentioned, this with this blue jumper is such a good winter outfit if you're looking for a bit of a combo. But the chocolate suede on its own is going to go with so many items. It very much acts like a neutral, but the suede brings that texture, it brings that different dimension. I think in the winter it's very easy to get into a rut of only wearing leggings, jeans, maybe wool tailored trousers if you go into an office. But something like this is a little bit more unique. It's definitely more special, but this is also really comfortable. I was so pleasantly surprised when I tried this on at how comfortable I was in this skirt. It's not uncomfortable to walk in or to wear. It has a certain stretch to it, so it kind of conforms to your body. When we're talking about winter, we also can't not talk about coats and outerwear. And I have a few different options for you depending on your climate. If you're like me and you live somewhere relatively cold where you get proper winters, you're gonna need to switch out your trench coats or your lighter barn jackets for a good wool coat. And this one from Petite Studios is a great example of what I look for because it is 100% wool. I think it is so important to look for a high wool percentage. Ideally 100%, but I would say at least 70% and upwards. I don't think you should be buying coats with less than 50% wool, especially if you want them to keep you warm. So this one is 100% wool. It is a softer wool, so it isn't scratchy, it isn't itchy at all, and it's in a more classic tailored design. I think if you're only gonna have one wool coat, which you definitely only need one, by the way, I think it should be in more of a tailored cut like this one. I do love a belted wrap coat, but I do think they can lean a little bit casual. They can err on the side of dressing gown if you're not careful, whereas something like this that has the buttons, it feels a little bit smarter, a little bit more classic, and if you go into an office, this is totally appropriate, but also this looks great with trainers and jeans and a jumper as well. I've gone for the charcoal grey. This also comes in a camel colour if you want something slightly warmer and slightly lighter. I love that Petite Studios often offer their outerwear in two different colours, and often they'll do something that's cool toned or more neutral and something that's slightly warmer toned. So you've got the grey and the camel with this coat, for example, and this just looks amazing. You can throw this over absolutely everything. It is thick, it is warm. Because it is that 100% wool, it really is going to keep you very warm. You can layer heat tech under this, you can layer scarves if you need to. But yeah, this is for if you have like a proper winter climate. Now I know a lot of you that watch me would love to wear that coat, but would be sweltering hot, even in the middle of winter where you are. So if you want that wintry look without all of the heat, I would suggest going for something like a lighter shacket or jacket. This one is a similar example, so it's also grey. It's also in a predominantly wool fabric. This is 70% wool, but it is a lot lighter and a lot less thick and warm than the proper coat. So you still get that wintry look, you still can emulate that wintry feeling without all of the heat. So if you're in a warmer climate, if you're in somewhere that doesn't ever get too cold, or you have days which are more mild, which we also do in the UK, then this is a great second option as an alternative to the proper coat. I will say this one, I messed up the sizing a little bit. I usually size up in Petite Studios just because, as I said, I am more on the cusp of petite and regular, so sometimes I want to size up to make sure I have enough room. This one is very oversized, so I shouldn't have sized up in this one. I got a size large. I should have gone with my usual medium because this is a little bit big on me, to be honest. So I would say if you're looking at this particular jacket, definitely go for your true size if you don't want it to be really, really oversized, because it definitely is already oversized. My final option for you if you're looking at winter outerwear is another lovely textural piece. This amazing fur leather jacket. So this is a faux fur jacket that is actually reversible. It is leather on the inside and fur on the outside, but you can reverse it and wear it as more of a leather jacket as well. I love the fur side. I love that it's chocolate brown, really leaning into that trend, but it's just such a lovely colour, rich colour for winter. And this is amazing. This is kind of an in-between. It's not quite as warm as the tailored coat, a little bit warmer than the grey jacket. So if you live somewhere where it's kind of moderate but a little bit chilly, then this might be perfect. And I love the wintry feel. There's nothing more wintry than a faux fur coat, in my opinion. It really is just the epitome of winter dressing, and I think it looks amazing just with a t-shirt, pair of jeans, pair of boots, and this as the statement piece. And last but not least is elevated loungewear. This is something that I think about all year round as someone who works from home. However, I do think of all the seasons where you need elevated loungewear, winter, you need it the most because it is cold, it is miserable, and you need comforting, comfortable clothing. So I suggest getting a couple of pieces. It might be a matching set. I think that's the best thing to do. Or it might just be an elevated hoodie or sweatshirt, something that's a little bit nicer than what you would wear to the gym, for example, but it also has that casual, slightly more sporty feel to it. This hoodie is a great example because it's made of a wool cotton blend. It doesn't feel too athleisure, too sporty, too gym wear, but it definitely does lean that way aesthetically. So it's a nice, casual, comfortable mix. Perfect for working from home, perfect for countryside walks, perfect for running errands in. I think this looks best paired with a pair of jeans, some trainers or some boots, and you kind of get that hybrid between sporty and more dressed up. I really like the piping detail on this one in particular. It definitely adds that more sporty edge. But I don't ever like my outfits to be fully athleisure. I just never feel very comfortable in that unless I'm actually in the gym. So I feel like this is a nice balance between a little bit casual, a little bit sporty, but still feels a little bit more luxurious than your typical gym wear. And that is it. That is everything I would consider adding to my autumn wardrobe in order to round it off and complete it ahead of winter. Let me know what you thought of my suggestions. Are they similar to what you'll be adding to your winter wardrobe? Do you already own pieces like this that you'll be bringing out of storage? Are you looking to plug any gaps in your wardrobe ahead of the winter season? I would love to hear from you as always. As mentioned, the links to all of the pieces I've shown today, along with my sizing, my measurements and the size I took, will be down in the description box. Details of the Black Friday promotion will also be there as well. I really value partnering with Petite Studios. I think they are prioritising a very underserved market, petites, and they're doing so in a truly slow fashion way, prioritising natural fibres first and foremost. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not done yet, I might suggest one of these two videos to watch next. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!